into the online broadcast network, AFTERBUZZ TV. Over 20 million weekly downloads in over 150 countries, and your #1 source for after-show entertainment. AFTERBUZZ TV, the destination for TV superfans. Producing aftershows for over 300 of your favorite TV shows, interviewing celebrities and showrunners, and bringing you behind-the-scenes exclusives. All thanks to E! Entertainment's Maria Menounos, producer Kevin Undergaro, and internet leader Akamai. Now, let the buzz begin!
More love. We need more love, ladies and gentlemen.
The organ's supposed to come in.
You know what I'm saying? I mean, it's coming.
Jazzy.
It's coming. Yeah.
I like that kick drum.
You know, for real. Ladies and gentlemen, we want to welcome you to the Preachers of Detroit After Show. What you're listening to is Miss Erica Campbell with More Love. Make sure you check out her new album, Help 2.0. That's what this song is on. Also, you want to make sure that you tune in to us and subscribe to youtube.com/AfterBuzz and subscribe to our YouTube channel as well as SoundCloud. I am your host, Lem Gonsalvez, and you can find me on social media at The Poet Saint, and that's on Twitter and Instagram. Next to me is Brother Deacon Patric Paul.
Amen, saints, amen. You can find me at Patric Paul at Yahoo and Instagram and Twitter. Y'all know where to find me. Patric Paul, Patric, no K, Patric, no K. Patric Paul, Paul at my Twitter.
Yeah, and the choir director all around the end, Pastor Gary Thomas.
You guys can find me on Instagram and Twitter at I am Gary Thomas, and of course I am GaryThomas.com.
Word.
Welcome back.
Yeah, thanks.
Welcome back,
it's
man.
good to be back. I missed y'all last week.
You're looking good,
you know,
man.
but y'all,
You're looking good
y'all held it down.
boy.
You know, we trying to. It's the season finale.
Oh, okay.
It's the season finale. We gotta come. We gotta come correct for the season finale.
And show out.
Yeah, I mean, you know,
Yeah.
I did, but you know, we always, you know, I have to say, Gary, you get the wardrobe of the year. I mean, you did come correct every time. I was fleek. Is that what you
Is that the word you
He was
use?
on fleek.
Y'all know I gotta be on fleek.
Gotta be on fleek.
Best dress of the year.
Exactly. That's it. Best dress of the show, Gary Thomas, worship leader extraordinaire. So anyway, this is the season finale.
It is.
It's kind of a bittersweet thing, you know what I'm saying? Because this is a dope show, but you know, based on how it ended, it's going to be another season. I'm just putting that out there. I mean, we're not doing predictions now.
Look at you.
But I'm just saying.
I like
but I thought it was interesting that the entire show was centered around Corletta and Gil.
Bishop.
I mean, you know, these are, of course, Gary's favorite people. But I thought it was interesting that they tie that in. And we knew that throughout the show, you could see that they would always hit that. That was always something that they would go to. When Gil was out of town, then it was, you know, about Corletta and their relationship. And then when Gil was in town, he would be talked to several people about it. Yeah. So, I mean, I think it was good that they fused it, you know, and kind of got, I wish there was a better resolution with it, because I really hoped, I mean, we talked to Corletta on a couple of different occasions, you know, throughout this, the season. And I was hoping, you know, based on what she told us, that it was going to be some good, you know, because she was smiling.
Well, you need a cliffhanger.
Yeah.
You need a cliffhanger, so.
It's TV. It's TV.
Yeah.
You want to end on a note because you want people to tune in and find out what happened.
And I'm ready.
Right. Obviously, but, you know, it is what it is. But let's get into it. It starts off actually with Corletta and Shannon, who's Corletta's daughter, and talking about Gilbert, who is her stepfather. And it's interesting that this has been something that seems to have been brewing for some time. You know, they've been together for years. Gil has been in and out 29 years. Yeah. Gil has been in and out. Of course, we know because, and I like the fact that Bishop Vaughn did tell the people about what happened when she was talking to the Shelbys. And she kind of broke it down, what she told us in our one-on-one interview about, you know, kind of why he's tied to where he's at. You know, North Carolina. You know, he was sick. She took the, you know, what was it?
She took a sabbatical.
18 months to be exact, to take care of Gil, let him recover. She went back to Detroit. That's her assignment.
He sent her back. He said, you know, you got to go back to your assignment. Plus, you know, Holy Ghost was falling apart
Right.
at the time.
Right.
They lost a lot of the congregation.
Right, and she did. That came up in when she was discussing that with her staff
and everyone else,
her clergy, and saying, this is what happened when I left the last time. It went down to less than 100 people.
Yeah.
So of course she came back, to rebuild her ministry, but Gil was then still there, recovering. And finally, it took him some time, but he finally started coming back to Detroit. But his heart was still there, and we learned more, which I thought was interesting. And I want to know kind of your take on this. Is when she was talking about it, I believe it was to the Shelbys when she kind of had the moment, and they were praying for her, but she was saying about how Gil is very tied to his family, and she doesn't think it has to do with necessarily a woman on the side, but it's the fact that the way he is with his immediate family, his siblings, his, his nieces and nephews, all of that's going on, and that's what's the one that's keeping him there, to the tune that instead of what the Bible says, when you get married, you cleave to your husband or wife, you just, I'm paraphrasing, but it's like he's cleaving to the family and not to his wife. What is your take on that?
First of all, I almost yelled Shondo when Apostle Shelby broke out in the tongue in the restaurant. He had a praise going on that was not about to stop. No cornbread was about to stop that praise.
That made it real for me.
So real.
I was waiting for that too, because again, this is the preachers of Detroit. These are spirit-filled preachers. Let's keep it real. Like, when are we going to see them really break out and get some serious prayer going on?
And to me, in that moment, that's what it was. I mean,
the best. It was like one of the best moments.
When he was praying for her in tongues, I prayed right along with him, because I want the best for Corletta. I want the best for her. But
it's gonna be the best
you can
for her.
tell that Pastor Don Shelby was serious about his feelings and what he thought about it, and then he began to pray for her, and I prayed right along with him, and I was so glad that he brought that out. That made the show real for me, as far as all the foolery and all the things that's going on with the preachers of LA, preachers of Atlanta, preachers of whatever you want, whatever city it is. That made it real for me, that he started speaking in tongues and praying for her in tongues, put his hands on her, and wished her the best.
Hands on her.
Yeah, I love that. I love that.
Well, I thought it was a great kind of coming around moment, because if you think about, it was the first or second episode was when they had the powwow at Bishop Ellis' house, and that's when they kind of got into the the kind of the discussion where he said women have a place in my ministry. Of course, Bishop Vaughn didn't take to that lightly, and she said, well, what are you talking about, place? So it was kind of like they were at odds initially, because of Bishop Vaughn's stance. She's been through it with being a female bishop. She's kind of been through the ringer. That's a soft spot with her. So the fact that he was sticking to that, and then even the fact that what happened with her and his wife in last episode, when they were going kind of at it, and
they felt attacked.
And so the bottom line, for it to come full circle, and now he's defending her. I just want to say, look at God. You know what I'm saying? Just look at what God can do when people, can really take away, the titles and take away that and just go to the heart.
Because the only thing they're arguing about is religion, which is the most irrelevant part of being spiritual. God never asked us to know religion. He asked us to know Him. So that's just irrelevant. So it was good to see that there's similarities in life came together. And they were just being humans and just being people of God.
And I'm glad Bishop Corletta decided to entrust them with her personal life and not just talk about their last encounter, but she really entrusted them to give her some counsel. And not only that, she got extra. She got prayer. She got Don Shelby being a man to go speak with Gil, and I'm sure you're going to tell us that.
Listen,
Don,
I love that.
Don held no punches back in that conversation.
I was going to get to that, but we can talk about that right now. We can talk about that now. I just wanted your take, because of course this is a situation where she gave him permission. He said, do you want me to talk to him? She asked him. He said, absolutely, I would love for you to talk to him, because the bottom line is, and we also, it was I'm trying to think, Clark, Dorinda Clark's husband had talked to him as well. It was kind of a more informal get to know conversation. This was like, I need to tell you something, brother, because your wife is hurting. And he came with some strong authority in talking to him. And it was a situation where I just wanted to take from you, do you think that that was an appropriate conversation that he had with him?
It was an appropriate conversation to be had with him. I'm not sure if it should have came from Pastor Shelby, because he doesn't really know him like that. He might have been more receptive of the conversation if it came from someone who he entrusted and who kind of knew Bishop better
and had respect for him.
But I respected his point of view, because he's been married and he saw what Bishop was going through.
A
He
good
felt
marriage.
it. You know, he felt it himself. He used his discernment when he had the conversation with her and when he had the conversation with, you know, Gil. But it just may have not been the right person. That's kind of why I think Gil was on the defense a little bit with the conversation, because he's like, you know, you can't tell me, you know, what I've learned in this
28 years.
28 years from this woman, and what you saw
in one
night. You know, so I think it was a great conversation, and he should have heard it, but it just may have not came from the right person. That's why he was so much on the fence.
Yeah. He was basically speaking from Corletta's point of view, and he spoke well. And he made a lot of valid points to where Gil really didn't answer them, but he didn't, like he said, he didn't really have to answer to almost a stranger to him.
Right.
So I actually felt some type of way that, you know, when that conversation took place, I was thinking, and Gil's, you know, having empathy for him, like she's going around saying the D word, which is divorce, to folks, and we haven't had that talk yet. And they did have it at the end, but they haven't had that talk yet. So for a total stranger, I would say, to talk to you about the D word with my wife that I've known for 29 plus years, probably felt, he probably felt some type of way about that.
Well, and then I think too, I don't think that she's necessarily tried to keep things from him. I think it's kind of like you're at a wit's end, because in her situation, here is Gil, who she loves dearly, right? And he basically continues to leave and be gone. I was surprised. I mean, I know that he'd been doing that for years, but the 1 year where he was away, he only came one time in that year. In 12 months, he visited once in Detroit.
Wait a minute. Bishop did go off a little bit, just a little bit. You can,
not a little bit, a lot of it.
No, I mean
Bishop is from the D.
No,
you see Bishop from the D.
Yeah,
but that's too bad.
She has some real attitude.
Well, of course. I mean, that's at the end.
But I'm just saying, the way she some of the stuff she was saying was true, but like kind of not relatable, because she was like, you know, when you do come back, he was like, you know, we never spend time together.
Right.
And she's like, you don't ever have a plan.
Exactly.
But at the same time, you got to be cohesive in making time for each other. But at the same time, she's like, I gotta pay bills.
Right.
So if you come here without a plan, you just popping up for 1 or 2 days. I can't just stop the listen flow when we got to pay bills here and there.
Well, I want to go back to what you were talking about, because I think that the reason why she was bringing that up to other people other than Gil, and we don't know, again, this is editing, this is TV, so we don't know what they talked about prior, what they're showing us. But if that is the case, I think it's a situation, like I said, where it's frustration. Here she is, she wants to talk to Gil. If Gil is not responsive,
she says he's not,
you know what I'm saying?
Type person.
He's not. So it's like if he tries to bring it up, he just walks out or he just shuts down. Then it's like, well, who else do I talk to? Okay. You know, I'm frustrated. I want my marriage to work. I want to be married, and I love this man, and I want this man to be here.
Okay, she could have confided in personal people with her, but she spoke to the stepdaughter.
Right.
She spoke to
which is her daughter.
She spoke to the church. She spoke to the Shelbys, and then she spoke to him. I didn't like that order.
Well, again, like I said, that's what they showed us.
That's a show.
So we can't. I don't want to go too far on that. But again, if that was the case, I'm sure
I'm just watching the show from front to finish like everyone else. I'm not thinking about editing. I'm thinking about how I watched it.
Well, I mean, they're going to show it that way because they want to show you their situation at the end.
Okay.
Because they needed to end it that way. That's TV. All I'm saying is I'm sure that they discussed, I don't necessarily they said the D word in the discussion or mentioned divorce, but they did mention that we've seen previously where she was like, okay, are you
alluding to it?
Exactly. Yeah. What do you still want to be together? I mean, these are things that have come up.
Yeah.
So I don't think it's a situation she was just trying to, you know, out Gil.
I'm not saying he was blindsided by the conversation. The conversation was there. It's been there for a long time, and I'm happy that it finally came out. So from his position, I was almost disappointed, though. Almost disappointed, because at the end of that conversation, it sounded like he was willing to work things out.
Why? Where was your scruples at working it out in the last 13 years?
Yeah,
and I mean, come on now. Just because now she's confronting you, and now you're saying, okay, I'm willing to do. She's always been willing to work it out, because you know she didn't divorce your tail yet.
But I told you in predictions like 4 weeks ago, Gil has something. He sounds like he has something else that's holding him down in North Carolina.
She explained that. She explained that.
And he's trying to allude to it as well. He's like, you know what? If you just trust me, And now I'm looking like, I'm gonna trust you too. Then it better be a good trust. It better be something that's really holding you there. If it's not, then something needs to change.
Well, he doesn't want to live in Detroit, so I understand that they're saying, you know, they're basically gonna wait till she retires for them to be on the show.
You know how long that's gonna be.
Bishop, No, Bishop is the oldest one on the show.
Okay.
So she may not have a great heap of time in ministry left, and she's waiting. You know, God may tell her that her assignment's over at Holy Ghost Cathedral. You know,
it might be over.
So we don't know what's going to happen. But she's saying, you know, I'm willing to have this long distance relationship, but we have to work out the details of this. You can't come home.
And she did say, she said, it's not that you're in, you know, that you're out there. It's not. That's not it. It's that you don't want to be here. It's the feeling. It's
you don't make provisions.
Like you don't make provisions,
and you're acting like you're.
That's what I'm saying. And I think that's the part. It's not. She's not mad at him in doing what he does. They've made it work for this long.
No, I think that was just her woman part talking. I don't think that she. I'm definitely not believing that she really would be okay with it being the same as it's been.
Well, no, she doesn't want it to be the same. Like I think it's different from the desire.
She want him there.
She wants her preference would be for him to live there, just like anybody that's married. You want to be living with your spouse. I mean, let's keep it real. But I think because of who he is and how he operates, knowing she doesn't think that he's with anybody else.
I don't know. She brought it up.
She brought it up, but that's just a thing she mentioned. All I'm saying is
that would be a thing all of us would mention. All of us would think the same thing. Like, why aren't you there with your wife? Why? He might have someone else.
Well, she said that to the Shelbys.
I'm not really confident in that little story.
I think that was in her heart too. Well, a real question.
I guess all I'm saying is that she's dealt with a lot with him and given him a lot of, you know, leeway in what he's doing, but it's like he's not giving that to her in return. And I think that's where the divide is.
Okay.
So
I believe he's not giving it, and he's not giving his time. He's not there. But like he said even when I am here, I'm not getting time with you because you're doing this.
Because you just pop up, so I ain't got no plan.
But neither do she.
You just ain't gonna come into Detroit when I gotta pay these bills and expect me to drop everything.
And that's understandable, but the marriage gotta come first at one point or another.
Right. Okay, so if you're coming in town, you're like,
you know I'm in town for 2 days, then give me my 2 days.
Then tell me what we gonna do.
It doesn't matter. We can just lay
Bishop said, tell me we gonna have date night or whatnot. Like, don't just come in here. I'm just gonna stop.
Come on now. Do I have to have a plan if I'm only in town for 2 days of the year? You better stop, drop, and roll and let me have that.
I'll put it like this. Like this, you know, however they finish taping this, I think that they're in a better place based on what we talked about.
I do too.
So I think it's going to be interesting to see what happens in the next season, you know, when that happens and kind of see how they go. But, you know, at the end of the day, you know, they're two, you know, individuals that, you know, are and somewhat stubborn. You know, they're both, you know, they like what they want and they want to do what they want. And so when you get those two people together, I mentioned when we were interviewing her about my grandfather, that when my grandmother moved to Northern California from Southern California, he was stubborn. He didn't want to leave yet because he didn't want to leave his friends and he didn't want to leave his arrangement that he had going on and his routine that he did. So it took him like a whole year for him to finally be like, okay, and then move to Northern California. So he was just being stubborn, you know, and that's just kind of part of it. But anyway, I think they both love each other and they both want it to work. And so
I saw love there.
I pray that it does, and I believe that again as we talk to her. I think it's working out. I want to move on to the shindig that the Ellis's had.
Wait a minute. This shindig was a shindig.
Right?
They had bartenders. I think they had valet.
They had valet. Yeah.
Everybody was dressed up, looking nice.
Yeah.
Wait a minute. My praise hand went up when Evangelist sang that note.
Oh,
yes.
Yeah.
Oh, but you know what? You know that was coming from somewhere deep.
Yeah.
That was coming
way
from somewhere
down
deep.
low.
Well, I mean, I like Corletta could blow a little bit too.
Yeah.
She could blow it in too.
Yeah.
But you know what? Who was there and who knows about what went on?
Talk to me.
Is Miss Kiera Ellis. Kiera, are you with us?
I am. Hi.
Hey!
Welcome to the show.
Kiera, thank you so much for calling in. First of all, this is Lem we've been discussing. I'm so glad you've called. I also want to introduce you to my co-hosts. We have Patrick and we have my boy Gary. Can you say hi to them?
Hi, how are you guys doing?
Hi, thank you so much for calling in.
Kiera, before we even start, I'm gonna go ahead and contact you so you all can invite me to the next party because I'm gonna need to be on the guest list for y'all having shindigs like that.
Now that was Gary speaking, so you can go ahead and invite him.
So, Kiera, we just started talking about this party that was thrown at your parents' house, and we were just mentioning about how amazing it looked. Can you just, since you were there, can you just kind of tell us, was it a situation where your parents just wanted to do this? I know that in watching the previous show, which was the Preacher of LA, they had an event where all the pastors came together, and I noticed that they did this as well. Was that part of the show doing this, or was this something your parents really wanted to do from the bottom of their heart?
It was a little bit of both. I mean, they wanted to get everyone together, and of course, you know, my dad, as you've been watching the show, he's been kind of the mediator to, you know, bring everybody back together. He's very good at reconciling things and people, so he's just been doing that. So we were like, what, you know, better place than to do it at our house and have a big party? And our house is a party house, so, I mean, on TV, I'm like, wow. I mean, cause living in my house, I guess, I'm used to it, but like watching it on TV, I'm like, wow, our house is kind of big. So, so I'm like, it's perfect for a party. So definitely, we had the party here. It was a lot of fun. I was kind of mad that they didn't show more of the party because it was so much fun. I mean, just when they show all of us singing, I mean, everybody did that. I mean, me and my brother, we can't sing at all, so we talked.
You look good, though.
You know that?
Langston, they lip sang. It was just so much fun. It was just so many things. Nikki sang. During the Sun, J. Cole.
Oh, wow.
He sang. I mean, it was just so much fun. It was hilarious.
I would think so. That's just like my family house. We do. That's just Patrick speaking with you, by the way. Yeah, our family do the same thing. Everybody can sing. Everybody can preach. But I wanted to ask you a question. Outside of the show, do you hang out with any one of the cast members?
Me and Nikki from the show, we got really close. So I was just with her last week. We had lunch. So I do hang out with Nikki outside the show. And Bishop Vaughn is cool. I'm actually speaking at her church next week. So,
nice.
You know, that kind of thing. You know, you build, you know, those little relationships. But me and Nikki got really close from, you know, doing the show together.
That's awesome.
I think that you are my favorite PK because you're like the chameleon. You like get along with everybody. You reach out to everybody. Like you just have the most warming personality compared to everyone else. And you're just a great reflection of your parents too.
Oh, thank you.
Kara, I wanted to kind of, you know, get into kind of your part in the show and kind of how things went. There was a few things that I want to kind of go back to the scene that we saw a few episodes ago when you guys, all the PKs decided to go bowling.
They tried to comfort you, and I wasn't having it. They tried to comfort you, and I wasn't having it.
Oh, the infamous bowling scene.
Yeah, the infamous bowling scene. Right. So, obviously, I see you there. You were there with Nikki. You're there with the Shelby Five. You guys are all, and it seemed like you guys kind of, some of you had just met at that point in time. You hadn't really seen some of you before, so you kind of met for the first time. You wanted to get together, and then it seemed like it kind of turned into, you know, one side versus the other when it came to like roles in the church and things like that.
It seemed like it was like Team Nikki and Kiera.
Right.
Yeah. Like it's like three of them against her. It wasn't. It was just kind of like a difference of opinion, and you know,
Hello?
You know.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Am I still here?
Well, go ahead. You were going in and out.
Yeah, cut out a little bit. So finish what you were saying. You said, you know, go say what
you
you're saying.
Can you guys hear me now?
Yes.
Okay. And my dog is here too, so if you hear somebody barking, that's just
okay. It's all right. It's all right.
Whoa. My mom is out of town, so now I'm the person that he follows around the house.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, I'm his new mommy while my mom is gone.
Got it.
So yeah, it was kind of that kind of thing, and my whole take on it was, I'm down for a Christian man. Don't get me wrong. I definitely would love to be in a relationship with a Christian man, but my whole purpose was, my point, they didn't show what I said. My whole thing is I'm not going to just discredit somebody because they're not saved. To me, I don't think that that's fair. If they have a great character, if they respect my Christian beliefs, if they're open to going to church with me and learning about God, then I'm okay with that. I don't know that I would necessarily marry somebody that's not saved.
Right.
That's a whole different thing.
Sure.
But I'm open to dating somebody because I don't know that I might have been put in their path to introduce them to God. They might not have found another church that they like until they came to Greater Grace Temple. So I'm not going to credit somebody because it's a lot of people in church that you can't have good character. They're saved, but their character is all out of whack.
Right.
So I'm not going to discredit somebody and say, oh, well, because I was born in church. I was born and my dad was a minister and he was a pastor. So I was born into this. Somebody else, you know, might not have been born into that. And I don't know that, you know, meeting me is their way to, you know, getting close to God. So I'm definitely not going to say, oh, because you don't go to church because you're not saved, I can't date you. I don't think that that's fair, in my opinion.
I didn't like when the Shelbys tried to come for you about not wanting to. They kind of made it seem like you weren't trying to build your father's church, like you didn't want to work there all the time, which I completely understand because you want to be your own person.
Yeah,
it was your own dreams.
Yeah, it was kind of taken out of context with that, and my whole thing with that. I'm glad I have this platform where I can explain what I meant. I was saying that to me, my dad was called to be a pastor. I was born as a PK. And so for me, I'm still going to have my friends. I work. I'm a senior sales director with Mary Kay. I earned a free car and everything with Mary Kay. So I have a business. I don't want to be at church every day, all day. Don't get me wrong. I do certain things in my ministry, but I might not be as involved as the average PK, and that's okay.
Right.
I don't think because you are a PK, you're obligated to be at your church every day, all day. And I have PK friends, and I know, through other PK events that I've been to, that PKs feel like they're obligated to be at church. So when they go to college and they go away, they rebel and, they do other things for an outlet because church is the only thing that they know.
Right.
So my thing is I'm just going to have a balance. And I'm not just going to serve in all 300 ministries at Greater Grace Temple because I'm the pastor's daughter.
Word. Yeah.
If I'm going to serve, I'm going to do it with a genuine heart. I'm not like, God, I'm just serving because, I'm the pastor's daughter and I feel like I'm obligated.
Yeah.
That's not even genuine to me.
It wouldn't be coming from the heart.
So
You're
that
absolutely
was
right.
my whole thing is when I serve, I'm going to serve with a genuine heart. And I'm going to be a part of a ministry that I feel passionate about. And I'm actually working now to start a couple of ministries at my church.
Word.
So I'm going to do things that I'm passionate about and not just be a part of the 300 ministries because my dad's a pastor.
Right.
Word. Well, I can definitely relate, Kiara, because I am a PK as well. So when I saw that kind of, that scene happen with the bowling, I was like, oh man, they speaking my language. I was like, because I've been through that too. And people thinking that you need to be there all the time. And, I do other things. And it's like, well, why wouldn't you hear it on Sunday? And I was like, well, I was doing something else. Like I'm not going to be there every day of the week or every, you know what I'm saying? So I appreciate that you kind of stood your ground on that and I wish that they gave you more airtime to kind of really tell. And that's why I'm glad you're on the show, because obviously you can kind of speak your truth about that. I did want to mention also, I kind of wanted to ask about the Shelbys themselves, because we've seen kind of, their journey throughout the show and a lot of their, belief system,
Keep it 100, Kiara. Keep it 100.
Them being, with their pastor and with their father, who's their pastor, and kind of how they associate themselves with them and the ministry. Do you think that, in your opinion, in watching the entire season, do you think that they were portrayed correctly, or do you think that there was some things missed with them?
To be honest, I don't really know them like that.
Okay.
So, I can't really give an opinion one way or the other. So how you guys were getting to know them on screen, that's how I was getting to know them too.
Oh, okay.
Because I didn't know them before the show.
And
Gotcha.
and since that, this is Patrick asking you the next question. What did you feel? I got to, because she don't remember me, y'all.
Oh,
listen.
Help us, Jesus.
Kiara, I want to ask.
You guys are so silly.
I want to ask you about Courtney. What did you think about Courtney at the time you met her, and then after seeing the show, what do you think about all that little drama that going on with Courtney Shelby?
I think after finding out what happened, now I understand why she's a little more passionate about ministry, I guess, and why she's like, ministry is, everything, and, that's why she does ministry 24/7, because I guess, she went through her rebellious stage, and so I think, she wants to just stay closer to ministry, I guess, to keep her on the right path. That's kind of what I got from it, and I admire that. I think that's awesome.
Word.
Okay.
Well, Kiara, got one more question before we let you go. I want to kind of talk about the ministry that was actually you started, and you talked about it at one of the events that we saw on the show about the fathers, and I really want you to really bring some light to that, and any information you can give about that, because I thought that was really great, and I think that's well needed. Not only I'm sure in the city that you're in, but I think nationwide.
The princess brutality, it just kind of hit me. I go to Greater Grace, and I sit on the second row with my mom, and I'm a part of certain ministries at my church, but I'm like, little girls in my church love me, and it wasn't until my dad brought it to my attention, because our church is large, and so, you have, like, your group of people. Everybody knows me, obviously, but it's, certain people that I talk to and, hang out with, and I know people by face, but I didn't know how much, like, little girls in my church love me, and it wasn't until my dad was like, yeah, I told them they can have a sleepover. I was like, a sleepover? Who wants to make it?
Right.
How are you signing me up for a sleepover? So I wanted to just be more than, oh, Kiara is so fabulous. Kiara dress is so cute. And, Kiara is a great businesswoman. I wanted to be more than that. So I wanted little girls to have something where they can talk to me and I can pour into them and they can kind of hear my heart, instead of just saying, oh, my pastor's daughter, like, she's cute, she dresses cute. I admire her because she's so fashionable. And so it was just one day I was just praying, and the Lord gave that to me, and I was just really, really passionate about that, because I have my dad in my life, and then I have my uncle, who is my mom's sister's husband, and they don't have kids, so they kind of, you know, adopt me as their child. So I have like 2 dads, and I love that. And, you know, it's just certain things that my uncle has instilled in me and pours into me. And I mean, my dad is like, I don't want you dating, so we don't talk about dating. Because my uncle, whenever I go on a date, he's like, did he do this? Did he do this? Like a whole checklist of things that my uncle, and I was just like, Lord, you love me so much that you gave me 2 dads. And I just can't imagine girls who don't have anybody. And so I know just from friends that I've had and just things that you see on the news of, you know, girls who don't have dads in their life, they look for that father figure in a man, and sometimes guys take advantage of that. And so you see girls getting pregnant or they're in abusive relationships, and I really wanted to do something to help girls with that. And so finding their own identity, finding their purpose, and if you don't have a daddy, Jesus is your daddy. Even when you do have a daddy, Jesus is your daddy.
Amen.
So just looking to him to fill those voids instead of looking to man and finding your own identity and purpose, because when you know who you are, can't no guy just be like, you cute, and you're like, okay, I'm about to have sex with you. Why did you told you was cute? I don't mean nothing. So I really am passionate about that, and I didn't even know, because I'm still working on that. And so I'll probably launch it in 2016. I didn't know that it was going to blow up as big as it did once it hit the show. And I guess naive of me, but
so
you know, I didn't really know, because you know, certain things you film, they didn't show, so I didn't really know how that was going to go.
So has the show really changed your life? Have you noticed a change since the show aired? How people treat you and, you know, strangers and people in your church?
People at church know. Like, Greater Grace is just like, you Kiera, you know what I'm saying? Like, if people at church, they're just like, oh, I saw you on TV, you were so cute, that kind of thing. But, you know, people, like, I love Greater Grace, so I've never experienced, you know, judgmental things or anything at that in my church. Like, I love GGC. Like, I love my GGC fam. So church, nothing really different. I was at an event today, and a girl couldn't see me, and she was like, are you 2 people actually? One girl couldn't see me. She was like, your voice sounds so familiar. I was like, it does? And so I just want people to get, so I'm not going to be like, I was on preacher, you trying to be like, that's not where I know you from. I don't even watch that. So,
look at that.
So she was like, oh my God, you some preachers at Detroit. I can't see you, because she didn't have her glasses on. She was like, but I know your voice. So certain people sometimes will recognize me. And then the only crazy thing is I have like 600 friend requests on Facebook. So every day I was getting like 20 requests. So that was the only crazy thing, but nothing really, you know, too bad, I guess, now that, you know, my dad, people have always known him. But, you know, I guess a lot more people kind of know me now. So I guess that's different. So.
Well, Kiera, again, I want to thank you for calling in.
We about to be friends on Twitter, Kiera.
I appreciate it.
I'm not going to be, don't follow me on Instagram or be my Facebook friend, because I was only on Twitter for the show. I'm not
I'm
on
with
Twitter
you, girl.
like that.
I'm only on Twitter for this show.
Yeah,
we all on Twitter for the show.
Okay, so before
on Facebook, I'm on there.
Okay,
but Twitter, I won't be on there until if we get a season 2. I will be on Twitter for season 2, but I'm never on Twitter.
You know, that's warming to hear, because we all on Twitter because of the show.
Right. Well, not me, but anyway. Before you let it go, do let us know where they can find you, all of your fans, people that watching the show, where they can find you on social media that you are on, that you want people to, you know, follow you on, especially with the launch of your new ministry in 2016. I know a lot of people are excited about that.
Yeah, so you guys can follow me on Twitter. It's just Kiera Ellis, and it's spelled Kiera Ellis. I'm on Facebook, the same thing, Kiera Ellis. And if you want to just follow me on Twitter, all my Instagram pictures just go there. So it's Kiera M. Ellis. And yeah, that's it. That's where you can follow me and see all my fun pictures and
we're gonna follow you, girl. Because
I'm following you. I need to be at the
Patrick wanted.
I like
been out of control.
I like the things you're saying. I'm glad we gave you a platform to speak your piece, because now I'm following you.
The Patrick, he feels the anointing somehow. I don't know what you're doing, but anyway, Kiera, thank you so much, and we'll talk to you next time. Hopefully, I know there's going to be a next season. So if there's next season, season 2, you'll be back on the show with us.
Absolutely.
Awesome.
You guys are so much fun.
Yeah, absolutely.
God bless you, girl.
All right. We'll see you later.
Okay, bye. Thank you guys so much.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Bro, are you trying to
get a date?
What are you trying to do? Are you trying to
stop?
No.
I want her to know me. Kiera, for the 5th time, this is Patric Paul. Just wanted to let you know. I got another question for you. Yeah.
Well, you know, we have multiple people talking to you. You don't know
Patric, no K.
Kiera. I'm following you, girl, because you know. I'm just saying. Well,
you don't get on the show. Love Jones with a PK.
Yourself in trouble. Jeez. Anyway,
I ain't having Pastor Ellis come down my house.
Right. Good thing she in Detroit. But no, I think it's good that she kind of gave us that, you know, and I think anytime, and that's why I like people on the show. Because they can kind of give their real story. Yeah. Because again, going back to TV with editing, a lot of stuff doesn't get out, so things get misconstrued. And I thought it was good. And I agree with you. She was my favorite PK on there. I think
she's like so amazing.
Yeah,
like,
she was dope. She was dope.
Level-headed.
She was dope, and you tell she comes from a good family. Yeah. And I like how she was like, "Man, my house is big. Like I didn't even know it was that big because I lived there, but it's cool."
You got the real.
So before we close out, I want to kind of talk about. We talked about it a little bit, but the Shelbys. There was the one scene aside from what we saw with Carletta when they were talking to Courtney. And I know you brought up Courtney and that whole situation. And we now know, you know, based on her testimony from last episode, she talked about not being pure, losing her virginity. She's using it now as a ministry. Yeah. And them kind of talking to her. I want to kind of get your take on that specifically because it seemed a little not forced, but not really genuine. And I will just kind of get your take on that if it was just me or what.
No, it's not you. When Courtney is speaking, it's like almost sounds like it's like scripted or they set them there. But for me, it's not. With the Shelbys, that's like neither here nor there for me. Like I only want to see ministry out of this whole situation. Right. And that's what we got. And that's the only thing that was important to me. I'm not really a fan of the Shelbys, but I'm waiting for the breakout of the music. I'm waiting for the breakout of her ministry because something is powerful within this family and these kids, and something's there with them. But that conversation, as all conversations with the Shelbys, seem a little bit contrived, you know, like maybe the producers sit them down to have these kind of conversations, but she doesn't look there for it.
Yeah, I didn't get much from that conversation as well, but it did look like they already had the conversation, but they had to do it for TV. It felt that way, but if you look past all that, past all the editing and what they were talking about, you know, I can give Courtney the poster child for redemption. I'll give her that because she had to go through it and just imagine the stuff she had to hide and go through. Even though she had to relive that for us for television, I still think she had to live it. And so I'm gonna give her the stamp of approval for redemption.
Give her the stamp.
I'm just okay.
As long as she's being obedient, that's all God's gonna ask her for. And it's just so powerful because you saw the people in that room, and you can just see worldwide what she could really do with this platform and just them all together what they can do.
Now she can take off one of them eyelashes. Them eyelashes are like this long. I mean, like she was like this.
She stays with a lash.
Her mama stayed with an asymmetrical wig. Okay,
they keep that. I like how he was like, I like your hair, baby, with that. And she's like,
it
really?
was the worst wig. It was out of all her asymmetrical wigs, that curly one is like by the far the worst.
Right.
Like I told you before, I think the older women wear wigs and the younger women wear weaves.
Okay.
That's what it is.
Okay. Do you think the Corletta and David? Do you think that they David Bullock? Do you think that was genuine? That makeup.
That was great. At first, I was gonna get on Bullock. I said she don't need to hear this right now from you, partner. Please don't go hard on her. Right. But when she started speaking and started talking to him, he started listening, and I appreciated that in him that he listened.
She was right,
and she was. But that whole conversation, it could have went any other way if Bullock would have acted out of control. But that time he listened and he heard her, and she had soft words for him, and she was feeling something deep inside too. Yeah. Anyway,
she made a point. She said, "You should have told me that. If you would have stuck around and talked to me, whether you mad or not, and you told me, I could have fixed it then and there." But
well, I mean, I think he did handle. I mean, now that we know both sides, I think we can all agree he didn't handle it the best. Him walking out, because
the situation, not this conversation.
No. I'm talking about the situation. Okay. So it is what it is. But
Bullock has the audacity to say that situation hurt his campaign. No, the tickets hurt your campaign.
I don't think that hurt. I was going to be upset with it. I
was going to be upset with him when he brought that conversation to the party when the party was just to be fellowship. Everybody's supposed to fellowship, but they had to have that talk.
Well,
she called him out. She called him out because he was funny. Yeah, he was acting funny. He was acting brand new.
Yeah, well, that's why because of how he was acting. Bottom line.
She put him in his place. Yeah, from an elder standpoint, she put him in his place and he listened.
Well, she said, "You like my mama." You know what I'm saying? And I think I think it was more or less he did feel hurt. Obviously he didn't handle it the best, but he was just hurt by it. She made a promise. He felt she didn't deliver it. Right. I mean, that was in the. I did like that they made up.
I really do. And I don't think it was just for campaign purposes for the next year or whatnot. I think he truly softened up. Yeah, I think he really made a real friend with her.
He had to humble himself. He lost. Did. I mean, and it wasn't her fault. Yeah. I mean, let's keep it real.
Right.
So
I think I will not.
He was licking his wounds.
Before we end, I do smell the spirit of opportunists
Nah, I didn't see that at all in that conversation.
Oh,
You're talking about with the...
I said the whole season.
Oh,
whole season.
yeah, Bullock.
I smell the spirit of opportunists.
Yeah.
Well, I mean,
I
don't think, personally, I think it's good. I mean, these are all preachers. You know, this is a television show. I think you should always use whatever opportunity you have to push your agenda. When we talked to him, when I had a one-on-one with him, and then when we also talked to him on the phone, I think he does feel for his community. I think we can agree that he feels for Detroit. Whether he goes about things the right way or
his
whatever,
agenda gets,
you know. But I think it's good that he feels, because who else is going to do it? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I love
so
it.
I like the fact that he does that, because a lot of people won't do that. Yeah. So I mean, to for that purpose, yes. Yeah. You know, if you have something positive going on, that's why I wanted Kira to talk about, you know, what God gave her, you know, with the ministry. Yeah. I think it's good to push that, because it's a great agenda to do so.
Yeah, he has my vote.
Yeah, so we'll see. We'll see what happens.
Thank
you know,
God
if we
you
get
don't
that
live in
next
Detroit.
season. Right. I think it's a good time for
hey.
us to go into predictions. Let's do that.
And now, your AFTERBUZZ TV predictions.
So spooky. We need like a shout music predictions for the show. Predictions. So spooky. All right. So anyway, we're gonna work on that. Okay. So predictions. Obviously, this is the season finale. Going into next season. What do you think? We'll start with Gary. Gary, what do you think going in next season? Give me your predictions.
Going into next season, I think that I don't know, because I you know, talking to Bishop, you know, they kind of left us on a cliffhanger with the whole marriage thing, and I'm more than sure they're not broken up.
Yeah,
you know,
of course.
I'm more than sure. So I think that they're gonna show more of them trying to work it out.
Them working it out.
So that's gonna be like kind of the big thing with Bishop. I think the only other person, we're not gonna see Pastor Alden.
We didn't see him this season. We didn't see him this season.
He was Casper the Ghost on this
one. I would predict he ain't coming back for season 2.
We saw him on the credits, the opening credits. That's when we saw him.
Pastor Alden ain't coming back for season 2.
Yeah,
he wasn't there for season 1.
Right, exactly.
There we go. And then I think that Bullock, I think it's gonna be just. He's gonna be on one.
He's gonna be out of control.
On one, yeah. Like, you know, not if it's a season 2, because it's gonna be a new opportunity to push, and he's gonna end up, you know, losing the support of all the others.
Okay.
You know, for my prediction now, if they come back and when they come back for the next season, I'm with you totally. I believe it's going to be a big story around the Gail Corletta whole thing.
Okay.
I think it's going to be a big story.
They're going to work on that.
I do think that. I do think Bullock is probably going to kick up a lot of dust in every area of wherever he is, and everybody else is going to have to fit in. And also, my prediction, I'm thinking it might be some disgruntled Shelby.
You mean there's going to be a rift like in their family?
It's going to be no, just in the Shelby 5.
Oh, within the siblings.
All groups usually go array at one point or another. I believe there's going to be something's going on with Shelby 5. Maybe the football player.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say, because it doesn't look like everyone is like set on this minute, but they're in it because they love it, but they're not set on this minute. Like,
they almost sound like
cheers.
I feel like I have to be here type thing.
Right.
And I think something's going to happen between it. Now, it's not going to be, you know, it's not going to be a big riff, but it's gonna do something that's probably going to damage the Shelby 5.
I hope Drea. That's where Drea. That's the middle one.
The middle one.
I hope she stick to it, because homegirl got a voice on her.
She can sing.
I think they're all talented. I think they're all talented, but it's a group, and usually groups. In my prediction, I believe something's going to happen.
It could, and it's interesting that, you know, we haven't seen anything, we haven't heard an album or anything, and usually a lot of times they'll use, like, if there's a group or something going on, someone sings in the show, they'll promote that. Like, you know, I cover Mary, and they promote their projects all the time during the show. So they didn't promote anything of them coming out with anything or anything. So it'll be it'll be interesting.
Prediction might be right.
It could be.
It might be going on right now.
It could be. I'll say, for me, I do think Alden is not coming back because he wasn't on this season, and I think too he lives in LA. We know he lives in LA. Yeah. So it wouldn't make sense for him to be on the next season.
He missed the call. He's not really his energy.
He made up for it.
He made for it. We had him on a one-on-one, but I think his heart is here now, you know, and he's doing his thing. I do think. I mean, I agree with mostly everything you said. I think Bullock is going to be on a rampage. I think you're going to see him even heightened. You know what I'm saying? As far as, I mean, he was all throughout the episode because he was the X factor in a sense. You know, he brought the drama, and you need that, you know, in a reality show. That's what people look for. So he's definitely going to be back, probably stronger than ever. I don't know that we'll see Langston. I don't think we'll see. Well, he wasn't. I mean, we saw him. He kind of his whole story like. With him was the whole
bishop.
Yeah, I mean him becoming a bishop and then his past, but I don't think there's anything to ride on beyond that.
They'll find something.
So I mean, I don't know. I don't think he was a prominent. I don't think he was prominent, but I mean that's just me.
Okay.
That's just me. But as far as everybody else, I do think there's going to be a situation with the Shelby Five that's either going to be with the siblings, with the group, something of that nature. Could be what we saw, in the internet, talking about Courtney. Yeah. Maybe that'll come up. Who knows? But I'm excited about next season.
We're not writing it as producers. We're just looking at it as a viewer.
I'm excited.
We're not hoping that these things happen, but that's what our predictions for probably next season. What storylines?
Thanks, Patrick, for telling the viewers.
Yeah, I need them to know that we're not wishing that upon them.
Okay. I'm about to lay hands on
all
right
of
now.
us, right? In the name of Jesus. Y'all, that's been our time. We want to thank you for tuning in.
Yes.
Again, this is Bittersweet season finale. Best believe that when season 2 comes out, we will be back full force, giving you the 411 just like we do now.
Lord willing.
I'm your host, Lem Gonsalvez. You can find me on social media, on Twitter and Instagram at The Poet Saint.
And this is Patric Paul at my Twitter and Patric Paul at Instagram and Facebook. Patric, no K, Patric, no K.
And of course, the people's favorite. You guys can follow me on Instagram and Twitter at I am Gary Thomas, and of course, I am GaryThomas.com.
Word. All right, y'all. Thank you. God bless. We'll see you next time.
Thank you. See you next season.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.